Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Politically Correct Ghana Lesson 230. Today is the 10th of May 2024. The discussion for today is Israel-Gaza War or Israel-Palestine War, the history and probably the solutions. As of today, Israel is militarily pounding Gaza in a town in particular called Rafah. It's pounding the people. It's killed over 35,000 Palestinians in Gaza Strip alone. Civilians, non-combatant civilians in the process. Why? Because 254 or so civilians or Israelis have been kidnapped by Hamas as far as last year, October. So Israel took to war in October 2023 against Hamas in Gaza Strip, in Gaza. Okay. And this has caused a lot of hardship for the people because Israel is backed by the United States with arms and they are pulling down buildings in search of their kidnapped folks, pulling down buildings, killing innocent people, killing some Hamas soldiers in addition, and they themselves wounding themselves as well, and killing some of the hostages. All right. In that process, we want to find out what exactly should be the solution, or what exactly is the history behind this Israel and Gaza war. Apparently, there have been some negotiations, but Israel is refusing ceasefire, temporary ceasefire or humanitarian ceasefire to allow humanitarian items to go to the civilians, innocent people, the non-combatants. Israel, modern day Israel as we see, is not the biblical Israel because we want to talk about an era where there's international laws, where there are written international laws that governs it. So modern day Israel was created by the United Nations in 1947 out of Resolution 181 II, sometime in November 1947. That resolution was passed at the UN General Assembly. At the UN General Assembly, there was a vote. 33 voted for the partitioning of Palestine. See, take note, the idea is you should partition Palestine. The land is Palestine, so they should partition it for the Jewish state and then the Arab state. It's based on the Balfour Declaration of 1917, when even League of Nations was not formed. But the British thought that Palestine, the land Palestine, should be divided, part for the Jews and part for the Arabs. And so UN in 1947 took on that Balfour Declaration and made sure that they voted in that line. So Resolution 181 II established Israel with a geographical location, a name, and people living there already. Those who are living, the Jews living in Palestine at the time, were in the minority. However, take note, there's this account that stated that the UN Resolution 181 II made a slight error. And I'll explain it. One, it gave the majority of the land, 56% of that land, to the minority, that's the Jews, and gave 42% to the majority Arabs, that is the Palestinian land. The whole that Palestine land was divided for the Jews and then the Arabs. 56% was given to the Jews, who are in the minority at the time, 47. And then 56 was given to the minority Jews, and 42% was given to the majority Arabs. And the rest was 2% was taken care of by UN Protectorate. Okay. Of which the Arabs rejected. And not long after, Ben Gurion, a Jew, who is the father of modern day Israel, asked his people from all over the world to board a ship, and there were ships load that went from Europe, that went to the Middle East and to Israel in particular, the coast, and then they settled. So in May 1948, Ben Gurion created and established and announced. He created established and announced the presence of Israel and the state called Israel on Palestinian land, which the Arabs resisted instantly, which is more natural that the Arabs will resist because they didn't even agree to the UN Resolution 181. Aye. Let's take a break and back. Yes, we're back to the Israel-Gaza war, the history, and plausibly the solution. All right. Just as Ben Gurion announced the creation of Israel on Palestine based on UN Resolution 181II, there was the war that broke up. You know, UN passed Resolution 181 in November 1947. Then in May 1948, Ben Gurion announced and created the state called Israel, the Jewish state called Israel. Meanwhile, there were some Jews living in Palestine at the time, and all this is happening on the Palestinian soil, by the ways. So you should expect natural resistance from the Arabs because they lived there and they are in a majority, but they are now rather being apportioned the minority part of the land, with UN taking Jerusalem and Bethlehem and few other towns as part of their protectorate. The former ruling foreign entity was Britain. Britain was against it. Britain was against the Jews setting up a state in Palestine. However, how did it go? So war broke up in 48, the first war. First Arab-Israeli war broke up in 48. Thereafter, there was a second one, 1956. The second one was 1956. That war was the Suez Canal War, the Suez Crisis, you call it, where Britain, France, and Israel invaded Egypt and made sure that they allow the passage of Israeli ships through the Suez Canal. Either than that, was causing problems for Europeans as well. But that was condemned by UN, US, and Russia. So the British were humiliated and they had to just sort of pull out to allow UN to negotiate for peace and progress and passage of that warfare by Israeli cargoes and cargo ships and all that stuff. Okay. That was another war that took place. You know, so that's the second Arab-Israeli war. The first one was 48. They killed about 6 people were killed on that day. I mean, don't take it easy. It's war. People will be killed. Then, of course, tension mounted again in 1967. Tension mounted again between the Israelis and the Arabs, where the Arabs also formed a gang. They ganged up. The Arab states ganged up. And then to make sure that they annihilate Israel from where it is, from the Palestinian land. Unfortunately, Israel defeated them. Unfortunately for them, Israel took them by surprise on the air and they defeated them. That notwithstanding, Israel seized Golan Heights, that belongs to Syria. It seized Jerusalem, Bethlehem, that belongs to Jordan, and then Gaza, that belongs to Egypt. They were all controlled by these entities. Gaza was controlled by Egypt. East Jerusalem, Bethlehem, and Co were also controlled by the Jordanians, and then Golan Heights for Syria. But then, don't forget the UN Protectorate is also there. UN Protectorate is also there. So, Israel annexed these lands, Golan Heights, East Jerusalem, Bethlehem, and Gaza and Co. They annexed the whole place in the process of 67. And in 67, for heaven's sake, it's 1967. 1967, you cannot annex because the UN regulations or international laws did not permit annexation of any land. Take note, UN resolution does not or did not and will not permit any annexation of any land after UN formation. And UN Security Council did define that in resolution 2334, that Israel should release those lands back to the owners. That's Golan Heights, Jerusalem, East Jerusalem, Bethlehem, Gaza Strip, back to the owners. That's Jordan, that's Syria, Jordan, and Egypt. But then that which is controlled by UN protectorate should remain as such, and UN will take a decision on it. So recently, a recent one has also taken place again. That is the 2003 to 2004 Israel-Gaza or Hamas war. Tens of thousands of people have been killed. We cannot sit down in a world to allow Israel to be killing innocent civilians that way. It's not right. Is there no better way? If you look at the history, so it presupposes that the only thing that is causing this recurring war, which may be the longest battle that is ever fought, the longest war that's ever fought in the world, or recurring wars that's ever fought in the world, is this Arab-Israeli war. It's so turning. The blue helmets have been going there so much, we're wasting so much money. So why won't Israel release those lands back to the owners according to the UN Security Council? Don't forget, Israel is protected, or Israel is being backed by US. And so they are keeping on to those lands. They are holding on tight to those lands. They have occupied it. They have annexed those lands, and US is backing them. So whilst Israel is doing the wrong thing, US is giving it its backing. US, United States of America, is protecting and supporting a liberal state against another liberal state, which is quite strange. I mean, you cannot think of that. US made a sad mistake, or is making a sad mistake. But to them, yes, there's more to it than we think, because they are also scared of the Russians taking position in those areas in the Middle East. That is just one aspect of it. The other bit is the resources. Okay, so then by UN Security Council Resolution 2334, Israel has to release what? East Jerusalem, Bethlehem, Golan Heights, Gaza to the respective states, so that there will be peace. The two-state agreement can sort of be started. Then where the partitioning was problematic can be carved out. If not, this war will continue for a long time. Don't forget, kidnapping of Israelis by the Palestinians has been happening since 1972, or maybe a bit earlier, or 72, the Summer Olympic in Germany, Munich, where they kidnapped Israeli sportsmen and even killed 2. It's not stopped. Don't forget Abu Nidal of Fatah. I think Abu Nidal created Fatah. This is just off head. I think Abu Nidal created Fatah, the organization, also a Palestinian. And they kidnapped, hijacked planes and all that. Don't let us go that far. Is it possible that Benjamin Netanyahu, who is the Prime Minister of Israel, he's been there since 1996, and he goes and comes and goes and comes. Why not release those lands to the Palestinians? Those annexed lands. You cannot annex a land in this time after Second World, after UN has been created, the formation of UN. You cannot annex them. Not in 48, not in 67, not today. You cannot. You have to release those lands. In any case, the first Prime Minister of Israel, Ben-Gurion, sometime in 67 or so, sometime in his latter years, when he was a farmer on a lonely small piece of land in Israel, he said he would prefer peace to taking territories. And to him, Israel must release all those territories they annexed, because they are settlers, and settlers must respect the indigenous people so as the indigenous people will welcome them. That is Ben-Gurion. So Bibi, please go back, polish your notes, take the notes again, take Ben-Gurion's notes and implement it fully so that there will be peace. Killing human beings the way you are killing them, over 35,000 Palestinians you've killed within these short few months, is going nowhere. It doesn't speak well of Israel. That Israel as a state, a Jewish state, killing innocent non-combatant people, that the God of Abraham, the God that you worship of Moses, the God of David, the God of Solomon that you worship, will not, I'm telling you, the Almighty God does not want bloodshed. Don't deceive yourself. God will not send any human being to kill another human being. let there be peace. Bibi, give the lands back to those countries, Syria and Palestinian takes his land, and let UN finish the process of partitioning. Redemarcate some part of it so that there will be some equity. The name is Kwame Afaglo. Thank you.